All right, and here we are. Good evening, everyone. Tuesday, what is it? February 13th.
February 13th, day before Valentine's Day. You should know
I know. February 13th edition of the Power Hour podcast, Tennessee USA Wrestling. I'm your Tennessee USA Wrestling state chairman, Mike Hatcher, and this is my co-host, Miss Kenya Sloan. How are we doing, Kenya? Are you, you just brought it up. Are you getting like totally prepared for a big Valentine's Day celebration tomorrow or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to be working all day. I'm going to be working.
I thought you were going to bust it out. You had these dinner plans and everything else, whatever, but no.
No, it's a normal day. It's been fun. I've been joking with all my clients coming in that they're my Valentine this week or this year, I guess. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun day at work probably just because, I don't know why. I already had clients bringing me in like candies and cute little Valentine's Day cakes and stuff. So I'm going to probably gain 10 pounds, even though I don't have a reason to celebrate Valentine's Day, but I'm celebrating.
Listen, you got to have things in moderation, and coming from the guy that we're just 5 minutes late to the podcast because he's just finishing up his dinner, which comprised of venison burgers from Josh Sturgill and a couple of donuts from Parvo Donuts here in Nashville.
Hey, what else do you need? You're getting your protein in. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, Valentine's Day. I don't know. I like to say. I was gonna say. Well, I hope that I don't get like a ton of like Valentine's Day, whatever cookies and stuff like that from my work. But my work is, it's a bunch of little wrestlers. So. I've got a lot of the young guys. I could be walking out with a bunch of cookies. Who knows? I don't know. But,
middle school boys aren't the most romantic, I don't think. So, I wouldn't be anticipating it, but it might happen.
Nah, I'm not anticipating it. So. Yeah, what else is going on in Kenya Sloan's world? Anything exciting?
Oh, nothing crazy. I got a break from coaching wrestling. Not that it's necessarily a good thing, but my weekend wasn't super full of wrestling this past weekend. So my time's coming up next week.
Right.
It's just keeping our head down and working hard in the wrestling room. So
there you go. That's right. The girls were off last weekend. Pretty much. Statewide. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Not this weekend though.
No, this weekend will be big.
Here it is, right here. Real deal this weekend.
Excited. It'll be good. But
good. This is probably your first postseason of coaching experience, right? Yeah.
It's my first. Yeah, it's fun. It's like just learning to like look at things different. Obviously, I went through it whenever I was an athlete, but it's different. Like I'm in different shoes than some of my athletes are, and also or I was in different shoes than some of my athletes are, and so like learning how to, I don't know, see their perspective and game plan for like what weight we should go and how we need to wrestle the region tournament to even make it to state. And it's fun to like just have the anticipation, but also like anxiety ridden. Like for some of my girls, this could be their last weekend wrestling ever because they're like about to graduate and not going to college. And so it's like, just trying to make sure they get the most out of it. So it's fun.
Yeah. It's always so crazy how much different it is when this postseason rolls around. Stakes are higher. It's just, it is what it is,
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah. Cool. Good deal.
What's going on in the life of Mike Hatcher?
We had a busy weekend last weekend, actually.
You did?
Yeah, we did. We had that Club Fest last weekend. It went really, really well. It was awesome. We didn't get as many kids as we thought we would, even though which was probably a good thing. So again, to recap, just to remind everybody what it was a bunch of clubs in the Southeast here coming together just for a training day and a training weekend, I should say, because it was a Saturday, Sunday event. So basically on Saturday, we got together. We had 3 2-hour practices on Saturday. It was Young Guns Nashville, Higher Calling, brought a ton of kids. They brought over 20 studs from Cleveland. Minion brought over 20 kids from Chattanooga area, Minion Training Center, Tennessee Wrestling Academy out east, sent some guys over. Wave Wrestling Club from Memphis sent some guys over. Compound from Georgia sent some guys up. Level Up, I think Level Up probably had about maybe 5 to 7 kids. Same the Compound. Stronghold from Alabama brought up another 20-some kids, and Pedraza Wrestling Academy down in Georgia brought up about 20 kids too as well. So, and then Grindhouse had a couple sprinkled in there. So it was really good. We had 3 really good practices on Saturday. The coaches from the different clubs, had a a coaching representative there that kind of showed technique and, ran through practice and stuff like that. And then on Sunday, we basically had really a big live wrestling day. We did a review of all of the stuff we did on Saturday, and then, just went a bunch of live, situational live matches. Just, it was great. So, it was, I mean, we had over 130.
Yeah. I thought from the photo, it looked like a big turnout. And then you said it wasn't as much as you were expecting. And I was like, geez.
Yeah, I know. Thank goodness, I mean, it's we figured if every club brought 20 kids, we're going to have about 200 kids. And NBA's wrestling room, which is, I mean, no offense to anybody else's wrestling room, but it's the nicest one. So, I don't know if you've ever been to NBA's wrestling room, but it's just not even fair. I mean, but there's 4 full-size mats in there plus bleachers, and it's just an amazing facility. And we're so thankful that Coach Simpson, got on board with us and let us host the event there. And it was just, it was fantastic. But with that being said, 4 mats for 130 kids, what we had, if we would have had it close to 200, it would have been been pretty tight. So so it honestly couldn't have worked any better. So, but on Saturday, thank goodness, I have such great assistants. So Tanner Smith took my session that I was going to do in the afternoon on Saturday. And so I went down and watched the regional down in Franklin. A bunch of my young guns kids were down there. And I mean, it was, I see it all the time because a lot of them are in my practice room. Yeah. But it's great seeing it. It's always great seeing them competition. But, I mean, and this is, I mean, not arguably. I mean, it's by far the toughest region in the state, in my opinion. I mean, it has 3 of the top 5 big school teams, public school teams in that one region, between Nolensville, Summit, and Brentwood. And it was a battle, just like it will be this weekend at the sectional tournament. So it was cool. So I went down there, watched that I was there for an hour or 2, whatever. Came back up, finished up the day, and then ran practice Sunday, at the Club Fest, and then to watch the Super Bowl. So
I forgot about the Super Bowl.
I know. Did your team win? You cheering for Chiefs? Were you cheering for Taylor Swift? Or you cheering for the Niners?
I was cheering for the Niners just because most of the people that I was around was cheering for the other team. I knew nothing about either. I don't watch football at all. I didn't understand what was going on, but I know who won, and
it's a good game.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to see.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. Yeah. I mean, I was mostly into it for Usher's halftime performance.
Which was my opinion, it was a great show.
It was great. It was like so nostalgic for me because I like literally grew up on Usher. Like the first CD I ever owned was Here I Stand.
Oh, really? It was wild. So, I saw on Facebook a bunch of the comments, the halftime show sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
it was awesome.
Oh, it was great.
Afterwards, I started looking up like his tour dates. I'm like, I need more of this.
Yeah. I would, I mean, I'm not like a huge Usher fan, but he would be one of those, just concerts. I think it would just be really cool. I mean, Drake was here last week, and if I could have swung it, I probably would have went to Drake. And I don't even really, I probably couldn't even name a Drake song. I heard a Drake song, and somebody say, "Hey, Drake," and then I would probably like, "Okay, yeah, you're okay, yeah. Okay, I know that song." But I wanted to go just because it was, I want to see what the hype is. Like Taylor Swift, I honestly, literally couldn't name a Taylor Swift song, but if somebody said, "Hey, Taylor Swift sings this," then I could do it. So and I would like to go to her concert. That'd be cool. So but I don't know. But a lot of people were saying that it wasn't very good halftime show, and I was like, come on, it was pretty good.
Lame. Haters are no matter what. That's the
I don't know what they're listening to. I mean, the one that the halftime show that I really, really enjoyed was back when Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre did
what year was that?
That was awesome.
What year was it about, do you think?
I don't remember. All I knew is I saw somebody posted on just like a snap of it, or like just a little recap of it on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. I was like, I remember that one. Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah. Those here, I because I like that era of hip hop. So it's good. Yeah. Of course, I mean, I like the early eras of country music too. So I'm all across the board. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
So
we're not going to recap the Super Bowl halftime show.
That was decent Super Bowl. So anyway, so moving on with the show, maybe we should talk wrestling instead of football and Taylor Swift. And
most people here.
Shows. Yeah, I think most people are kind of tuned in for that. But like I said, there's not a whole lot going on in the on the girls' side. Last weekend, everybody's getting ready for their sectional. Is it sectionals or regions this weekend?
Regions,
yeah. So just let us in on what's going on, then we'll introduce our guests and you can go ahead and fire away. So what's happening here on the girls' side?
Yeah. So like I said, we don't really have any results to review because there was not a single thing going on in the state for girls. Obviously, we had like boys region, which was a big deal. So everyone was all hands on deck for that in probably every area. So no, there were no girls competing, but we've got a super, super cool guest on today to kind of just still share a little bit on the girls' side and what's going on in the state. We've got Coach Gordon, Geston Gordon. You want to go ahead and pop him on here?
There he is.
And
himself.
Nothing much.
Nothing much. Look, we have the same exact hair going on right now.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Coach Gordon. Everyone, this is Geston Gordon. If you don't know Geston, I knew Geston as the rankings guy before I knew him as anything else. So I actually had to call him before the show, and I was like, "What do you actually do?" Because all I know is that you put out these rankings for the girls that I've used and referenced so much. I mean, I even referenced them like I've referenced them in the show multiple times, but you probably have just a tab on what's going on the girls' side of wrestling in our state better than almost anyone. So I thought it would be super cool to have Geston on here, Coach Gordon, and just talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the state and also your role in, creating these rankings that so many people have like depended on and used as solid fact and gold. So welcome, Coach Gordon. You're also the head coach at Fairview High School for the girls program. So
brand new program.
Yeah. So it's first year of having a girls program at Fairview, and Coach Jordan stepped up to take over that program. So welcome, Coach. Tell us a little bit about your program first that you started, and then we'll dig into the rankings and stuff. So what's going on over at Fairview?
Right now it's just trying to like get them mentally prepared for the region tournament. To me, I'm always gonna think that the Clarksville area is one of the tougher. They've kind of like started it. I mean, not to say every other region doesn't have their own tough teams and opponents. It's just Clarksville has 3 of the top 30, 40 programs in the country right now, and so it's really tough if you're not competing year round to get that same matchup, and so, but it makes it easy too, is because it's a local team. We don't have to travel far to get the tough competition to prepare them for that region tournament coming up. But yeah, it's just trying to keep them focused and staying in the room to prepare for it.
Absolutely. How many girls do you have on your team over there?
Currently right now, just 2 have made it this far. So yeah, it's been tough just for them because I would say at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of interest, but some of them had wrestled previously for the team, but they were considered like part of the boys team. And so they didn't realize like how much work actually went into the season, because Fairview boys program, they're one of the top programs in small school. They're known, in the small school. And so their focus is on their boys program. Don't get me wrong. Like I understand that part of it. And so back then, like girls that wrestled, they weren't as serious as some may have showed up and not really like been held to that same standard, we're just finding that the match opportunities and match times throughout the season. And so whenever this year happened, I've said like, hey, the same standard the boys are set to, that's the same standard that's here. We practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We wrestle Tuesday, Thursday, compete on Saturday. And so some of that was shocking to them. And so they may not have had that in that schedule that they had, but the 2 that we have are dedicated to wrestling, and, they're dependable. And so it's like, this is a great start. We just have to get those girls in the room that want to have that same standard and accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kudos to you for holding them to that. It would be easier to be like to lower your standards so people would stay, but that's not how you build a program worth having. So yeah, I know it's hard work, but you've been putting in that hard work. And I know we were talking a little before about how like you really just saw a need in this area on the girl side and decided to kind of step up and fill that role. So it's not for the faint of heart to start a program like you're saying right now for girls in a place where it's not been done. So like, what kind of motivated you to want to be a part of girls wrestling in your area?
So I mean, I was like so I wrestled for Dixon County. I wrestled for, and so I would volunteer coach there, and I seen that, like there was 5 or 4 girls in a room, but then there's 25 boys in the room, and how much attention the boys got focused in the wrestling room versus the girls. And I was like, the boys get all the coaching while the girls are a varsity sport. So let me just direct my attention to them, because I got 2 daughters. And if they were doing the sport, I just want them to have that same coaching opportunity. And so I just directed my attention to the girls program. And then after that, it kind of just grew to the state staying to Dixon County, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. So then when did you transition from like, hey, I'm just going to be in the room and coach and give some attention to these girls, to like turning your eyes to what was going on in the entire state and putting together these rankings for us to use?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing as like knowing that publicity, or like giving those people that, if we looked at it back when I was wrestling, like Pin 10's always been around, like, or Coach C's always been around. And so it was like all the conversation was just like, what are the boys going to do? What are the da-da-da-da? And I was like, there's girls that do the same thing, right? And so I'm like, they need to have the same kind of focus that the boys get. And so that's kind of what drove me to like start looking into girls across Tennessee and just going like, let me look at every tournament that I can find and see results, and kind of like come up with what I think is a standard, or just like a criteria, what I view as for the girls. Cause it may be different for what the boys have set for like how their rankings play out versus.
Use.
Say that again.
I said, what criteria do you, everyone else might know this, but you have to treat me like I'm ignorant, because I am. So like, what criteria do you actually use to like, to rank the girls in the way that you do?
Yeah, so I'll kind of start off like for the preseason. Like obviously I'll use like where girls were at the end of the state tournament, where they kind of like finish at the state tournament, and then think if they stayed in that same weight class where they would be at. But then as the wrestling season starts and their weights start to like move around, then I can start narrowing down like actual solid rankings per each weight class. But then it becomes like results. I don't wrestle, you're the wrestler. So it's all about what your performance on the wrestling mat. And to me, a lot of times it's about like how well you are wrestling, and scoring points versus like a pin. Like I know everybody thinks, oh, well, I pinned so-and-so. Well, yes, that's good. But in girls wrestling, pins happen a lot. And so you may wrestle a girl that say, we'll just say a number 2 ranked girl, and the number 3 girl pins her. Just because you did pin her, they were up 12 points when that happened. You know what I mean? And so it's like the odds of that pin happening every time may be rare, right? Yeah. But it's, can you overcome that 12-point difference that they may have been wrestling or winning at when it comes to when we wrestle? So I kind of look at it that way, in the aspect of like how well you wrestled against that tough girl, or just consistency in your schedule, because I think that's where the downfall is on the girls' side. Is you may have a girl that is a top 4 contender or top 6 contender, but because she's not able to travel to wrestle in tournaments often, she's easily looked over because she's just not able to go do that. And it's no fault of her. It's just, that's just what tends to happen. Or they don't get a lot of wrestling during the week, and then they only can go to the tournament to like wrestle.
Yeah. So then just from like a logistical standpoint, because there's this also very real problem. And Hatch, I know you see it, I mean, even on the boys' side sometimes too, but How do you, like, obviously you're not seeing every one of these matchups every time, or being able to like see the match, or even sometimes find the scores of every match between like two ranked wrestlers, or when you're trying to rank them. So how do you go about like finding your stats and information? Do you kind of have like a community of coaches around you who help inform you, or like how do you go about finding everything?
Well, so yes, I mean, some people will just inform me of like, hey, this is a girl that you should look into, and I'll go do that research. Like, I don't mind, I may miss somebody. And if you reach out to me and say like, hey, this person, you know, go look at her because she's strong or she's doing really well, I'll go and look this person up, because again, I may miss somebody. But to me, if it's like, if you run in a tournament and you're not using track, it's hard for me to like find that result to happen, you know? And to me, it's like, if it's not on track, then how do I confirm what actually happened? And if I'm at a tournament, yes, I'm coaching, but I'm also like watching when I'm not coaching girls wrestling, you know? So it's not just like I'm there just like last year, I drove to all these tournaments just to watch them wrestle, just to make sure like I was seeing as much wrestling as possible to be like,
that's such a big commitment.
Accurate.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's hard too, is like when, trying to make sure girls are in the right weight class, because they can change, like one week they're at 45 and the next week they're at 38 and then they go back to 45. And so it's just trying to be like consistently, if you're wrestling at this weight class, then that's kind of where you're at. But if you've wrestled in 4 different weight classes, it's hard to put you in a certain weight class for sure.
Yeah. Well, I had like no idea there was so much work that you personally put into it, but it's something I'd always wondered. Like, I knew that there was these rankings and I saw them and I took them as, you know, like the best and most accurate rankings that we have, because truly they have been. But it's super cool just to hear your commitment to girls wrestling in our state, because it's like this isn't a problem that you solve by just hopping on your computer for 20 minutes a week or an hour a week, you know, which is like my commitment is I hop up here for an hour. But like, you're traveling and doing all this research and having to talk to different coaches. And I don't know if anyone knows like how much work you put into like making sure we have this resource. And I mean, just from a me perspective, like I'm so grateful. Thank you for, I know part of it's part of your hobby, but I know part of it's also just because you want to provide opportunities for. So I think it's super cool.
I tell you what, I mean, I can definitely speak for, you know, for coach here as far as like his commitment to the girls side, because I mean, first of all, I mean, he's getting involved in something that's always going to have some sort of comment. Always.
Right. Never
this is a world that I literally never, ever, ever have had an interest or have interest, whether it's a guy side, girl side, kid side. I don't care. I want nothing to do with rankings. I don't look at rankings. I strongly suggest that the kids that I coach do not look at rankings. But I tell you what, nothing causes as much drama and controversy than rankings. It is bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, and so hats off to you there, coach, for even diving into this and then take it to another level and putting the type of work and thought behind it like you do. I mean, because some people can just kind of, you know, whatever, half-ass it, you know, whatever, blah, 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 blah. You actually put a lot of work and a lot of thought into it. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep sorry. I try to keep bias out. Like, it's not about like where you wrestle or like what program you're for. Like, the results you wrestling is what you are, what it is, you know? And so I try not to like go like, oh, let me focus on this area more than the other area, because I can see how it can be easily forgotten if you aren't looking for the state as a whole.
Yeah. And you reminded me, Hatch, because Coach Gordon and I talked about this a little bit, how he doesn't release any rankings before the state tournament, and kind of for the reason that you were saying, Coach Hatch. Like, tell me or tell everyone else, because I heard earlier. But Geston, tell us like kind of your mindset behind like rankings this time of the year, and how come you don't put any out?
Yeah. So I mean, I coach too, and so I know how much rankings like play the mental side of wrestling, right? Because people do go look at it, and so to me, like, I don't want to be that guy to say like, oh, you don't have a shot pretty much of like being a state champion. Just based on me putting a ranking out there, because I think at the state tournament, like everybody has a shot to like go make an upset or be a state champion. And so I just don't want to be that negative in the room before the state tournament to go like, oh, let me go see if I'm ranked. And then they go like, oh, I'm not even in the top 6. Like, that's not for me to decide. That's you wrestling. You know, you could have a great day that one day and be a state champion. You put your work in and that happened, you know? And so to me, I like to encourage, like, if I'm wrong, go prove me that I'm wrong. Like, I want you to prove to me that I was wrong. You know, like if that's what motivates you is to be like, oh, I want to show that guy. Sure. Go do it. You know, like, I encourage it, because at the end of the day, like, I want girls wrestling to grow. And so I don't want it to be that negative to be like, you don't have a shot. You know, I don't want to just be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. So that's why I don't put it out.
It's interesting perspective on it, though. I totally get that.
Yeah, I think it's a super like admirable thought to consider the athlete, and like, because like how you even said, Hatch, like athletes will look at the ranking and automatically like, count themselves in or count themselves out. So I super
honestly, most of the time with it, I mean, it's high school especially. You see this. I mean, I seen it. I mean, I don't know about the girl side. I mean, but the guy side for sure. I mean, nobody gets psyched out more than, like, I'd say middle school and high school kids when it comes to rankings. I mean, college is a little bit different. That's when I mean, it's more, you know, because I think you're getting just a higher level of competitor, obviously, and one that'd be like, oh, okay, so he's ranked number 1. Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah,
you know, we get more of that at the college level, but at the high school level, it's like, oh, okay, I get the number 3 ranked kid in the state, you know, and now it's
right.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So, but no, that, I mean, I tell you what, like I said, but you know, here's the thing about Coach doing these rankings, Kenya. I mean, this doesn't surprise me at all that because he's got a real passion for the girls' side, and I'll tell a story real quick here before we get our next guest on. But so last year, I've known Coach him for about a couple of years since I moved to the area. I first moved to the area. He was helping out Ravenwood. He come over to this little freestyle session I was running and stuff like that. So, you know, I met him a while ago, and you know, we, you know, friends from, you know, friends for a couple of years now. So I never, ever, ever, I probably, if I've been on Coach T.
Yeah, you said this last time.
I mean, if I've been on them 5 times ever, that's like a stretch. I've literally been on there maybe once or twice. So a friend of mine said, hey, somebody's talking about the USA Wrestling Organization. They have a problem with this of our Who's Number 1 event that we have. We always have this border brawl. We have this Who's Number 1 event. They're, you know, saying that they don't. And I said, yeah, we get people all the time. They're like, no, you might want to check this out. So it was actually Coach Gordon, and he was the one that was, you know, saying, hey, this isn't fair, you know, and what's the deal with the USA Wrestling? Why are they discriminating against girls? Blah 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 blah. And so we had a donor in the in the USA Wrestling side said, you know what? If they want to do a girl side, I'll buy it. I'll do it. I'll supply the money. I'll put it up, whatever. So with the assumption, just like every other keyboard warrior out there, you know, calling them out, say, okay, here, we got the money. You put it together. Then, you know, I mean, you go. You know, there's a lot of work putting these events on, just so you know, but you do it. And so I called him. I didn't get on the keyboard. I did whatever. I just called him specifically. Say, listen, I understand that that you have an issue, obviously, with the guys having an event. The girls don't have an event. This is kind of what our justification is, it from an organizational standpoint. This is, you know, obviously the cost, blah, 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 and everything. And if you want to do it, then do it. Go for it. He's like, all right. So sure enough, what did he do? He did it.
And it wasn't an event. You were there.
Did it. And he did it. The event was on the same day as the guys, which happened to be because and it wasn't because of him. It was because the guys switched their date because of the grappler tournament. I think it was the same grappler. So they switched it on. So it ended up being the same date, but held it at different venues. So I went to the girls one. Coach Derek Harrison, the vice chairman, went to the one in Cleveland. And I tell you right now, especially for the first one that he's ever done, he knocked it out of the park. It's a very difficult event to put together, and something that has so many moving pieces. And like I said, long story. I know I'm kind of rambling now, but I tell you what he's doing with the ranking side does not surprise me one bit, because I literally said, listen, here's the deal. Go ahead. I mean, do it.
Yeah, most people would back
with the person that was going to donate this money. He's like, oh, it's safest investment I've ever put my money towards. He goes, I've been telling people to put up or shut up or whatever, with this money for years now, and it ain't nobody doing it. And sure enough, he said, okay, all right, good, I'll do it. So he kept contacting me and said, hey, how about this? If this date work? And I got him in touch with the venue. I hooked him up with the venue in Middle Tennessee, and literally I hooked him up with the venue in the Middle Tennessee. The coach there, they kind of coordinated with it all, but it was 99.3% Coach Gordon. And it was awesome. And it was a great event. And I'm telling you right now, it'll be bigger and better next year. And he'll continue it on. And like I said, man, I give credit where credit's due. Yeah, he's a big part when it comes to that girl side. He really is. He's got a lot of passion for it. And we're very, very thankful to have him on the girl side.
Yeah, absolutely. We are.
Appreciate it.
Before I let you go, because
that'll always be our story, Coach.
Yeah, this is funny.
I was on the beach in Cabo. Watching the NCAAs when I called him. It was like literally right before the final started, and I was like, "Listen, I only have a certain amount of time to talk, but we got to hash this out." And there we go. Boom. Yeah. I said, "Okay, I gotta go. I gotta watch the finals."
Yeah.
Yeah. Hatch talks all the time on the show about how, like, when people want things done, they'll complain about it, but not do something about it. And it's cool to know that you were the opposite. Well, you weren't the opposite. You did complain about it, but then you did do something about it, right? Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I know we've got another guest on here, but really quick, if you could you don't have to dive into them because I know we're short on time, but if you could give me maybe top 3 matches we should anticipate at the state tournament this year. What?
There's a question for you.
Top 3. So I'll give you top 3 weight classes that I would like to see because it could go either way.
Okay,
here we go.
Personal wise, so first one I'll go with weight class 145. If everybody sticks to the same thing, is I would like to see the Audrey Lewandowski, Trinity Roberts match wherever it ends up, based on the regions. I don't know. Audrey is a returning state champion as a freshman last year, so she's working on her number 2. And Trinity Roberts has already had a 1 win over her this season. But I know she's put in the work to get better. Another one would be at 138, Mariana Bowen versus Delilah Queen. I think that's going to be a really good matchup there. Delilah is another freshman that's coming. Mariana is a freshman state champion from last year. She's working on her number 2. Now this again is if they stay in the same weight classes, if one doesn't move down or go. This is if they ideally stayed in their same weight class. There's another one that could be 152. I have 3 people that it could be Bella Harris from Cleveland, Janiah Johnson at Kirkwood, and then why did I just get let me see. I don't know. That's bad that I forget.
He's also frozen. Are you there, Justin?
Sawyer Ward, yes, from Science Hill. Yes.
Okay.
Sawyer Ward. Yeah, I'm here. Am I good?
He's freezing up.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, there you go.
Are you here?
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, Coach?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. I can hear you now.
Yeah. So it would be Sawyer Ward, Janiah Johnson, and Isabel.
Yeah. Those 3 weight classes will definitely be ones.
Did I break up?
Yeah, that's okay. We got it. And we heard the 3 matches that you gave us too that we should look forward to. So
good. That was a great question. Great answer there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He came armed and ready to roll. Love it.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
Is there are quite a few girls that are looking for a multiple state championship. So Vivian Mariscal is working on her second one. She's a senior. Jenna Baines is working on her second one at 107. 114, there's Melanie Val. She's working on her second one. Mariana Bowen at 138 is working on her second one. But then 145 is Audrey Lewandowski. 165 possibly is Piper Fowler for her third. Ella Murphy is working for her 4th state title. And then Shania Whitesinger at 235 is working on her 3rd state title. So it should be good to see where everybody falls. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are names definitely worth following. So for everyone watching, if you weren't planning on following these names that you probably have all heard on our podcast at some point, now you know who to look for in the state tournament. So Geston, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so fun to hear the brain behind the madness. And thanks for just telling us a little bit about what you
do. Coach, thanks for everything you do on the girls' side. We really appreciate you.
Oh, no, I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, my man. Take care. It's good seeing you.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. Yeah, he's starting to break up there a little bit. So
yeah,
no, he's a good guy. Like I said, he's a doer. You know, so there's a lot of especially in that coach. Coach T's is trash. Yes, I'm throwing it out there right now.
You said
I don't know. Maybe I'll get a lot of heat for it. Maybe whatever. But listen, I'm not trying to promote our podcast over Coach T. I'm not trying to whatever. But I got suckered in. Somebody told me to go on there and read some thread the other day because it was like a thread of like, I don't know, 60 pages. It's something stupid. It was just, I got through like 2 of them and I about blew my brains out. I was like, this is crazy. You're talking about grown, just grown men freaking going back and forth about so-and-so's better, this stuff. It's like, come on. Is this what it's came about? It's like, come on. This is supposed to be like an informal information resource. And all it is just bashing a bunch of sometimes 12-year-old, 14 and 16-year-old kid. It's just like, it's just garbage. It's garbage. It's total garbage. But I guess it sells. The drama sells, I guess. Kenya. Sure don't sell to me though. Listen.
This is a drama-free zone, this show.
That's it. Drama-free zone here. Drama-free person, myself. That's the last part of that. I don't do it. So either way. So, but no, I tell you what though, man, hats off to him. Cause I'm telling you what, his girls event was good because we put the same event on the year before. It's the first year for the boys, same venue, Brentwood Academy. And man, I tell you what, he did a lot of things we didn't do. I took a couple notes out of his book, his stream, everything was really good. He did a fantastic job. Yeah. So I can't wait till the event this year when he comes back for the second one. It's going to be awesome. So, all right.
I'm glad we got to have.
Yeah,
you had a lot to share with us on the boys' side because unlike us, you guys actually had stuff
going on. Shoot, I gotta dig in my. I actually had to take notes this weekend. I didn't do it. I normally like screenshot a bunch of stuff and I have it. I'm just like total. You know how some people like put the post-it notes on there. I mean, I couldn't put post-it notes all over. I couldn't do screenshots because there were so many results. So so that's what we're gonna get into right now. So there was so much going on. I tried. Honestly, to go and maybe pick out a weight class for each one of these regions and stuff. And I was just like, it's going to take forever. And nobody wants to listen to me talk that much. So let's just back it up and just do some team results. So I'm just going to go down all the winners of the different regionals last weekend. And like you said, we had quite a bit going on. So last weekend, starting out with the private schools in the Division IIs on the west side, Father Ryan took home that title. Christian Brother was a second, and Brentwood Academy was third out there. They had that out west in Memphis. Mm-hmm. The east side, Baylor, McCauley, and Lakeway all were in a little bit of battle. Baylor and McCauley 8 points within each other. Baylor pulling it out, so they were East Division champs. But getting into the Class A side, in Region 1, Tennessee. Tennessee was first, Tennessee High School with 229, and David Crockett was second, right behind him with 194.5. In Region 2, Class A, Seymour Pigeon Forge and Anderson County actually had a little battle going on there, and it was a pretty tight race. But Seymour ended up pulling it out with Pigeon Forge second and Anderson County third. Region 3, Alcoa, Heritage, and Samuel Everett School of Innovation, new school popping up there. I had a little battle too with Alcoa taking home that title. In Region 4, Soddy Daisy and Signal Mountain, which everybody kind of anticipated it's probably like a Soddy Signal Mountain dual meet, I would think, in that region. But Soddy won pretty handily. They were at 296 and Signal Mountain was at 203. Region 5, in Class A, my boy Bob Callison from Arizona continues to keep things cranking there in Tullahoma. So super proud of him. I got to talk to him last week, and he's really happy there, and he doing a great job. They won their region title last weekend over Eagleville. Eagleville was second. So 237 and a half to 207 there for Coach Bob Callison. Congrats. Region 6 Class A Station Camp came away with a tight victory over Greenbrier. And then Region 7, last region in that Class A division, pretty tight race between 3 different schools. Montgomery Central, they took the title over Fairview, who's second, and Cheatham County was third. So pretty exciting stuff there. Getting into the Class AA's, the big schools there. Region 1, Dobbins-Bennett won pretty handily in their region there over Morristown, Hamlin West. Region 2, Maryville took the title home over Knoxville Halls. Pretty tight race there too as well. Just about 7 points separated those two. So pretty tight race between Maryville and Knox Halls. Cleveland won pretty handily in theirs. Bradley Central, my bad, was second. So in the Region 3, Region 4, Blackman got that region title over Oakland by a pretty handy margin, about 60 points. So congrats to Blackman there. Region 5, real tight race between 3 teams there with Green Hill, Cookeville, and Wilson Central. Green Hill taking the title just barely over Cookeville, and Wilson Central was third there. Region 5, Region 6, and I said it before earlier on the show. In my opinion, and probably the opinion of most people, honestly, if you pay really close attention to the state, but I would say by far the toughest region in all schools, in all classes, in Region 6. They have 3 of the top, what I would consider 3 of the top 5 teams in big schools, with Nolensville, Brentwood, and Summit all in the same region. Nolensville takes the title for the first time in their big school debut here. Since they've been in big school. They used to be in the Class A, and now they moved up to Class AA, I believe, the year before. But they took the title home over Brentwood. Brentwood was second, Summit was third. And what makes that really interesting is the fact that, again, they were in the same region for the duels, and Brentwood and Summit ended up, and Nolensville beat Brentwood earlier in the year. Then Brentwood beat them at the regions to hold them out of the state duels. Well, Nolensville came back and turned the tide this time. Wow. and won the region. So, wow. I mean, yeah, between those three teams, you're going to get hotly contested contests out of all of them. I mean, every weekend they literally could wrestle every weekend, and it's going to be interesting this weekend because they wrestle again this weekend in the sectionals. So, wow, yeah, it's pretty wild. So, Region 7, another real good race there between West Creek and Clarksville. West Creek pulling that out. Congrats there, region champs at West Creek, and Rossview was second, just right behind Clarksville there. And the last but not least, real hotly contested region out west with Bartlett, Arlington, Houston, and I know Bartlett. I tell you, man, he's doing a good job out there. He's got those guys going. Yeah. But Bartlett, Arlington, Houston, and Collierville all were within 10 points of each other. So Bartlett, Bartlett pulled it out. They pulled out the region title, 195 and a half. Arlington was second with 90 and a half. And then Houston was right behind them with 188 and a half. And Collierville was right behind them with 185 and a half. So, wow. Yeah, 4 teams that were really, really, really tight in there. So that just tells me that the wrestling's getting better. You know, so it tells me, I think it's pretty awesome. So, yeah. Yeah, I love seeing all the good competition. And like I said, it's just, leading into what goes on this weekend in sectionals. See what happens. We get to go from there. So, but that leaves us with our next guest here. I'm going to bring my man into the stage right now. There he is. Johnie Melzoni, head wrestling coach at Nolensville. What's going on, my man? How are you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, is right.
Doing
yes,
great.
Hey, Melzoni. Good deal. This is my co-host, Kenya Sloan.
Hi, Coach.
Yep, good friend of mine here, Johnie Melzoni, head coach at Nolensville. And I tell you what, you're going to be hard pressed, Miss Sloan, to find a more cheerful young man than Coach Melzoni. That for sure. He might be the most cheerful coach I've ever been around. He's always,
that's quite the compliment.
Yeah, he is. He's always. I don't know if he ever yells. I mean, here's the crazy thing. So get this. So I was before I met him. I was coaching. I was helping out at Signal Mountain for a couple months. And he was at Nolensville when they're in small school. So we were like in a really was it districts or was it regionals duels?
It was the COVID year. So instead of taking 8 teams, it was basically the blood round to go to state for the last 4. Yeah. So we came to Signal Mountain for that match.
Yeah, and there were some tight calls, or, it was a dual meet because we were
really
good in a lot of ways where they weren't good. They were good where we were. It was a back and forth duel. And I was looking across and I was like, man, that big dude over there, man, I bet he's a hard ass. I mean, I bet he's a freaking, I bet that dude is a disciplinarian. I bet he just looks like he played that part as like somebody that had everybody like in line. So we ended up winning the duel. I finally introduced him. I talked to him the next couple of weeks, going to, the state, and there could be a nicer guy. It was totally, I totally like got it wrong. So then he had me out to do a camp, like just right after that. And then I really got to know him well. And so I was running late, like to the camp. I can't remember. I hit some traffic or something like that. I was running like 2 or 3 minutes late. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, well, we don't start until like whatever. It's just like, he's so like lackadaisically and just whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just whatever. It's so cool. So yeah, I totally got it wrong.
Yeah, there's definitely, time to be strict, but it's, you got to keep it laid back.
But on the flip side, he is a captain in our police department here in Nashville. So I'm sure he probably has that. He probably has that in him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, hey, enough about that and how me and you met, because everybody knows that we're pretty good buddies to begin with.
Right.
Congrats last weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First region title as a big school in the big school division.
Yeah. Our first region title in either duels or individuals in big school. We've been in big school since we were a small school that first year in 2020. So we came up in 2021. So this is our third season there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think? Because obviously when listen, the small school is competitive too. It's not like, there's solid wrestlers in
you froze
both
up on
divisions. Yeah. I think be back now. You froze up on us.
Yeah.
You there? Okay. Yeah. Because the small schools, they have great wrestlers too. But obviously, when you start getting a bigger population, I think it's just it's a whole different dynamic. What was the biggest, change over the last 3 years that you had to go through to get your program where it is today?
Right. Yeah. And it's froze up there. Am I good now?
Yeah.
Are we good? All right.
Yep. Good.
I'm sorry. Now, what did you ask?
Well, obviously, just the difference in your program now that you're in the big school classification as it was before. Obviously, not taking anything with all schools. It's just from a population standpoint. It's just you get quite a bit more depth.
Right. Yeah, and even when we were in small school, we always knew we were going to come up. Mm-hmm. So I try to always have a schedule that was a big school type over the years on good and bad things, but we've always done try to get better as far as the practice and the preparation goes. I'm a thief of knowledge, so anytime you have a camp and you see me hanging out, I'm not looking at my phone.
He keeps freezing up.
Yeah.
I'm still.
Coach, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, you keep freezing up on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We heard you say you're a thief of knowledge at camp.
Yes. Yeah. I was just talking about how I try to get better and better every year when it comes to I'm learning too. So anytime Hatcher has a camp or a clinic or something, or I take my kids somewhere, I'm trying to learn to get better as a coach too. So we're evolving as a team. We get better and better each year.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of adjusting with your schedule too, I think. You've really started to get out there and really get traveling and really start putting those kids in the fire, I think, during that year. It looks like it's really paying off.
Yeah, we travel a pretty good bit. We're out of state four times a year. We go North Carolina, we go to Kentucky, we go to Alabama, we go to Georgia. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to make.
Yeah, you froze on us again.
Am I freezing up again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you were in Georgia and Alabama and everywhere.
Yeah, it was just chasing losses. We're trying to find those tough matches.
Yeah.
And for some of my wrestlers, it's harder than others. We got to find those tough matches to get them ready for next week and the week after.
Yeah, well, it's definitely work because I mean, here's the I think when you're jumping up into the larger school classifications, I mean, it's not like you guys jumped into a weak region. You got the Summit team who's been knocking on the state championship door here for the last, I'd say 6, 7, 8 years. With Pete really making a big push here, and then of course you got perennial powerhouse, Brentwood, who's had a tremendous program for years, and what Damon's doing over there is fantastic. So I mean, when you guys are jumping in, it's like you guys are jumping right in the fire. And this year's region, not only from an individual's perspective that you guys just won last weekend, but the duels perspective as well. I mean, those are 3 teams right there that are literally, that are 3 of the top 5 teams in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, it's tough. Pete and Damon have excellent programs. They always have. I started my head coaching career in middle school, and Pete was beating me in duels there in middle school. So
long history.
Yeah, exactly. But it's incredibly talented region for sure.
Yeah, because you start throwing in, I mean, like I said, just in Middle Tennessee, I mean, you throw Blackman in there too, and I think we got 4 of the top 5 programs in the state, just in this Middle Tennessee area. So,
yeah, Blackman's really good this year, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a lot of it too attributes. I mean, you got a freaking gold mine there with your kids club. I mean, what Jamie Morrell has done at that, with that Nolensville Kids Club is man, he's got. I mean, the feeder programs here, like I was telling you before, Kenya. I mean, in Middle Tennessee in general are just outstanding. I mean, we mentioned Blackman already. They've got, I mean, just an incredible kids club there. I think they've won by the last couple 2 state titles. I can't be exact, but Nolensville's always knocking on the door as well. Not only from a numbers perspective, but obviously from competitive, perspective. So you start getting coaches like that, like Coach Steffi over there at Blackman, who does just a phenomenal job and just, always has his kids, at the top of the AAU ladder. But then you got Jamie, who, his program's not only feeding Nolensville, but he's got a lot of his kids that are feeding into an up and coming Ravenwood team that's very strong as well.
Yeah. There's several of those kids. One of our middle schools still splits between Ravenwood and Nolensville. So some of those kids that Josh has are longtime Nolensville Wrestling Club kids. But you're spot on. Jamie does a wonderful job. That's where I started. It's a great place. The city's great. It's a great atmosphere. It's turned into a really wonderful wrestling community.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of interest now coming. I go to not only the duels, and I watch the region duels. I came and watched the regions last week, and I mean, you got a lot of support there, my man.
Yeah, we do. It's very blessed. I mean, this, like I said, these couple years, I've kind of come up with these kids. These kids have come up with me. It's just been the way it's been. So it's extra special for me. The senior class, some of them I started coaching, in the club. We came through middle school together, and now high school. So it's a special group right now for sure.
Right. Well, that special group ain't going anywhere because, from what I understand, you only graduating like 1 kid.
Yeah, we got 3 seniors
off your varsity. How many off your varsity graduating this year?
3.
3. Okay. All right. I was 2 off.
We have 9 underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a good group. It's a real good group.
That's awesome.
And they're really committed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I can kind of speak for, just, obviously, because I know the situation super close with a lot of these kids, but I mean, his between Nolensville, Ravenwood, and Brentwood, they probably have by far the highest percentage of our Young Guns program comes from those three programs. I mean, we have an incredible amount of kids that come from those three programs. And it's, I'm not obviously not taking, I mean, the credit goes to, Coach Melzoni, Coach Smith, Coach Peck. I mean, they're the ones that they run their programs. We just act as a supplemental program. But what I'm saying is they've got a bunch of kids that want to get better in the off season.
Yeah.
I mean, and Nolensville has had a ton of kids at our freestyle session last spring, had a ton of kids at our preseason. Same thing with Ravenwood, same thing with Brentwood. And they just got a bunch of kids that just want to get better at wrestling. And it's great to see. And it's great to see the success coming out of those three programs right now.
Absolutely. I was going to say, so much of that culture comes straight down from, I mean, obviously your coaching staff, Coach Melzoni, like these kids wouldn't be going to get extra work if you weren't encouraging them, or at least like setting the expectation. And that's just like what we do at Nolensville. So it says a lot about what you do, or the culture you set for your team.
Yeah. It's you mentioned the coaching staff, they just got the region assistant coaching staff of the year. They're awesome, super supportive. All the assistant coaches there, and it's such a good system between Jamie Morrell all the way up like Kyle Snyder and Coach of the Sunset, Coach Hollins there, and then working its way up to the high school guys. It's just it's a real good supportive group. We're friends, we're family, and that tends to, people want to wrestle more. They want to hang out with their buddies. They want to go to this trip. They want to go, if you're going to this camp, I'm going to that camp. So, it just spreads.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you talk about hitting the road. I mean, you hit the road quite a bit this past off season with your boy Brody. He's having a good season this year. You can brag on your son a little bit on the podcast, Melzoni.
Yeah, he's driven. He's driven. And that really last year's was the blueprint. We went everywhere. My goal was 75 matches. That was our goal, to get 75 matches. He got 95.
Wow.
95 in the off season. You name it, he went. I put him on 2 commercial flights by himself. I'm like, buddy, I got to work. Like, let's travel. But he wrestled hard. He went places. He went to Virginia Beach and took his lumps. Won some, lost some. Fargo, same thing. Iowa, Indiana, you name it, we went. But he's always kept a great attitude. He's always worked hard. Multiple practices a day, in the weight room, nutrition, water. He's a great example, and his teammates see it. And they want to do the same thing this year. So it's going to really help the program in the future.
No, absolutely. And that's one of the things, whether it's, it's coach's son like yours or another one that's super, super interested in the sport, that just usually it takes that one kid to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And, just watch. If I do well, and there you go. You guys might want to follow along if you want to be good. So, and he is, I mean, like I said, and I wouldn't have brought Brody's name up just because he's your son. He's just, obviously, I love that kid. I see him all the time because he literally, it's always at practice. He's always at this competition. He's always there. And those are the kids you kind of gravitate towards, the ones that really, really want to be good. They want to do as much as they possible, like him, like a Cash Waymeyer, like a Reed Lawful. Those are the kind of guys that Kyle Nielsen would be another one that comes to my mind right away. They just had everything, every practice. And I've got a ton of other ones, but he's definitely one of them. All
great kids. Yeah, we were talking about the progression that he's done. Thinking about his end of the year last year to where he's at now, and all the work he put in, and it was great because he looked at me and he was just like, I can't wait to do it again. I cannot wait to do it again this summer. I'm so excited about this summer. I can't wait to do it again.
Good. Well, he's like I said, he's got to bring some more of the Nolensville kids and the Nolensville buddies. I saw a bunch of them at the regions last weekend. So I can't wait to get the chance.
Well, and it's great because it's great those freshmen and those sophomores. I got a bunch of underclassmen. But I mean, that's how we won. That's how we won region. I mean, it was a team effort. Of course, Trey McToy is going to do well. Of course, Trey McToy is going to do well. Of course, Chase is. You expect some of these people, they're going to go out and do very well and win points. But we got, Parker Jones, the freshman, Ben Smith, the freshman, Trapper Lippincott, a freshman getting second place. William Tomlinson's been asked to step up and do amazing things. He wins 2 matches for us, a couple pins. What's that? 8, 10, 12 points. I mean, heck, we beat Brentwood by 6.5. It was really a team effort, and those guys really picked a great day to step up and shine.
Yeah, and it was because I was at those region duels, and I could see that them got beat by by Brentwood when Brentwood moved ahead or went on, and I could see that they were bothered by that. They were very, very bothered by that, and I was like, hey, it's going to be interesting at regionals, at the actual regionals, what happens now. So, got them competing there, Coach. Froze up again.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, we that week. Am I back now?
Yeah,
you're back. Hello.
Yeah, you're back.
So that week we lost to Summit by a point on Tuesday in the district, and then we lost to Brentwood region by 3. And I mean, those were big lessons that we learned. Especially for those young kids, learning how to finish a match, learning how to be aware situationally. I mean, they're freshmen and sophomores, so it was tough. Those are tough losses, and we had a couple real good weeks of practice that I think paid off.
Yeah, well, sometimes those youngsters, they got to learn the hard way sometimes, and get that experience, and that's how it rolls. So that's awesome. Ken, you got anything else from my man Melzoni?
No, it's so fun to meet you. I've heard lots of great things. So congrats on you guys' win. It's like it'd be cool to watch how it plays out in state.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Melzoni, we'll see you later, man. All right. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, he's a good dude.
I want to be friends with that guy.
Oh, everybody wants to be friends with him. He's like one of those guys. He is. He's just a really, really good. I'll introduce you at the state tournament.
Sounds good.
He's just a great guy. He really is. And he's doing a fantastic job there, and it's just it's all about creating a culture, and he's doing a really good job of, it's just so hard to, I mean, obviously wrestling in general is so hard, so getting it's just a hard sport. Now you're asking a kid to go do it for another 3 or 4 months in March, April, May, June, and it's like, really more? I mean, so unless they're really super seasoned and they've been doing it, from a youth age, but he's doing a great job as far as getting those guys involved in the freestyle Greco part and the preseason stuff part, and taking, like I said, he takes his son all over those other places. So I think he's got himself a little blueprint now that some kids are definitely going to follow, because, his son's having a significant, amount of success this year, as compared to his freshman year from last year. So yeah, it's exciting to see. And it's exciting to see another great program here in Middle Tennessee, because, Pete Miller, the job he's done at Summit is really, he's just done a fantastic job. And then of course, Damon Smith, what he's done at Brentwood, fantastic job. And now we have another program here in addition to Blackman, who's all the way out in Murfreesboro, but they're Middle Tennessee as well. And now we got 4 really, really, really solid programs here in Middle Tennessee. So I'm excited. To see, maybe one of these times we'll make a run at, maybe make the run those Chattanooga schools. I know my boy Knox and Boston, they don't like to hear that, but I live here now, man. I don't live in Chattanooga anymore. Shoot, I mean, I want to win too.
There's plenty of good things going on, just the fact that you said that all these teams are coming in so close to each other. That's how you start to see progress, is whenever, with individual kids, right? Whenever you're got good kids wrestling other good kids, that's the purpose of clubs like yours. And so big picture, when you got good teams wrestling other good teams, the only result is that they all get better. So
it's crazy, because it's not rocket science, it's just not. I mean, all you have to do is just look at the national landscape, and this goes for women's too. It goes for women's. It goes for guys. It goes for it's tried and true theory from the peewee all the way up. I mean, it's just the way it works. I mean, if you get the most competitive kids in the room at one time, they're gonna. I'm not saying it's like the only method. I've come across a lot of kids that have been in a really small room. They didn't really have great training partners and still end up being very good wrestling. But we're talking from a percentage standpoint. The chances of them developing and getting to another level are much, much, much higher if you have them in some sort of like training, situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of good kids in the room. That's just the way it is. They're more attentive to their drilling. They're more attentive to their technique. They're more attentive to the live wrestling. They have to get up for their live wrestling instead of knowing the fact they're going to beat the snot out of somebody.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works. And then at the same time, you get them in a room with these other like-minded kids that want to go to these other big tournaments and want to go get out of the area and go wrestle tough for competition. And then they're basically the odd man out because they're not doing it. So it's just a better situation, and we just have to continue to plug along here in Middle Tennessee. And I mean, like I said, all you got to do is just look at the national landscape of it all. I mean, that's where all the better states, like all the good kids that come out, all the ones that are wrestling in the P&L events, all the ones that are wrestling in places that, Hyatt Fargo and all these other Super 32, they're all in these big clubs. All of them. They're all in these big clubs.
I think as an individual athlete, if you can look at the room you're training in and clearly and obviously see that you're the best athlete in the room, then you're probably not doing the right thing for,
Exactly. You're not in the right place.
Yeah.
That's a huge point. That's such a great point. And just even look at our senior level, look at our RTC, look at the college, look at the colleges right now. And this college landscape has always been like this. Whatever place has the best training center is usually the team that's winning. And that's just what it was back when I was at Iowa in the early 90s with the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. And we literally had half, if not 3/4 of the world team in our practice room because they were either ex-Iowa guys or Iowa State guys that came in and now live in Iowa City, in addition to all of our All-Americans and national champions that we had on the 1916 team. Now look back here. Now fast forward to 2024. Who has the best RTC right now?
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to come in. Penn State. Well, I mean, who's winning? I mean, they literally have half, if not more, of the world team right now from last year's world team in their RTC. And wow, shocker, they're winning. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not. Like I said, it's not rocket science. So it's just it is what it is. So that's my plug for the big club. Because you know what? Here's the deal. At the end of the day, it's already happening. That's what's happening. That's what's going on the national level. All the monster clubs are swallowing up the states. Like even my state, where I came from Iowa, and we didn't even have anything that even resembled the club when I was wrestling. Not even anything close.
Yeah.
Our club was me and my brother and Victor Sackett, who lived 2 blocks away, wrestling in the backyard. That was a club. But now, I mean, you literally have all of the good kids in Iowa. I mean, I should say all of them, I would say probably at least 90 to 95% from the youth clubs all the way up to high schools. 90 to 95% of them either train at Seabolts, Big Game, or Immortal. Those 3. That's it. They're all at those monster clubs. And all the other ones, all of the smaller clubs, just aren't. It's just hard to compete.
Yeah.
To compete, So, yeah. So that's it.
That's it.
But I'm you know what I'm looking forward to? I'm actually looking forward to that on the girls' side. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever the case may be. But when somebody puts together something like that, like a centralized regional training center that gets all the best girls together from, I mean, if Clarksville would do one, I'm telling you right now, they would be, because that's what I think they have like 2 or 3 really competitive schools there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's when Doug was, that was kind of when Doug was doing his thing there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be, it would. Yeah. I mean, a big part of this that we're also not saying is that like the biggest part to getting to what we're talking about is also individuals, teams, etc. Like looking out for the greater good and not saying, hey, I'm gonna look out for my 10 that I got here. Or as an athlete being like, oh, I want to be in a room where I'm always the best because it makes me feel good. Like it's a big thing to like set your pride aside, set your ego aside and be like, I'm gonna go get beat up by these people. Or I'm gonna take my team and my girls might not be the best in the room, but I mean that's a big like pride thing that has to be kind of set.
And tell you what, that is such a great point right there, Kenya. Honestly, if I mean, you hit the nail on the head. If you're the best one in the room, you probably need to get to a different training situation.
Yeah.
And I'm just fortunate enough that here in Middle Tennessee, we have some really, really high level guys like Landon DeSalle and Jarvis Little are high national caliber guys. I mean, one's going to Ohio State, the other one's going to App State. I mean, they place a majority of pretty much 9 out of 10 national tournaments they get into. I mean, they are high level. Well, they can come up to my young guns any day of the week and get that butt whooped. But not by the high school kids. It's because I've got literally 6 ex-Division I college wrestlers in the room.
Sure. Yeah.
So Jarvis can grab a hold of Phil Anderson, who qualified for nationals a couple times for Gardner Webb, and get a great spar in, get a good drill in, or have some great combat. I mean, I think actually Jarvis took Phil down for the first time. Phil was telling me took him down for the first time here about a month ago, and that's a huge deal. That's the way it works, And then Landon comes up, he gets a scrap with Tanner Smith, who's a couple times state champ, Ohio State champ, 2-time national qualifier from Chattanooga. Those are the guys I get the scrap with, because if they stay in their own room, well, they're by far the best guys there.
Yeah.
So that's such a great point. That is such a great point. It's awesome. Yeah. So then I've got Trey Watson, who's a little bit bigger than Tanner even. So if they want to really test themselves, they'll go grab Trey Watson. he was a UTC wrestler, but he's a little bigger, so he just kind of horses them around a little bit. So
yeah, that's you makes it through all the
yeah. So then I've actually got a couple of more that I've added. I actually just now I'm rambling, but I get passionate about what we have going on in Middle Tennessee. But I have Alex Bennett, who's one of our bigger guys too. He's at Gardner Webb. He wrestled collegiately at Gardner Webb, another Division I college guy, but he's a little bit bigger. And then so one of the kids that I was recruiting when I was at Chattanooga, the second time when I was back at Chattanooga, he ended up signing with Little Rock. Ty Lukens, he's state champ from Florida. I mean, one of the few high school kids the senior year that beat Jackson Smith, who wrestles at Maryland right now. But so he was at Little Rock, but now he lives here in Mount Juliet. So he's going to start helping out. At least I saw him today. So he said he would.
Oh, wow.
Then I've got actually another Cal Poly wrestler that I ran into the other day. Ex-Cal Poly wrestler, lives here in Nashville. He's a Division I guy. So So I'm adding some big guys. So adding some big guys.
Yeah. And then if your athletes make it through all of these big guys and they can't find anyone else to beat them up, that's when you step up to the line, right?
I don't step up the line. I haven't stepped up the line in last line I stepped on might have been 1996 with any type of like desire to win. So, all right. Well, I thought with that last 5 minutes or whatever rambling. So
hey, we're having fun.
Yeah, you know what? So it is what it is. Oh, maybe we got people here want to listen, and they got some great advice from national champion in this podcast right now. Seriously, that was great advice. Great advice, because a lot of kids just like being the best in the room. They do. Yeah. That's outstanding advice. So yeah, if you learn one thing tonight, youngsters there, that was it right there, and it couldn't be better. It literally could not be better advice. So awesome. Good. All right. Well, I think moving forward next week, the exciting podcast week.
Yeah, it'll be exciting.
State tournament results on the guys' side. Private school wrestlers, best of luck to you guys this weekend. And girls, looking to get qualified for that state tournament.
Yeah. Best of luck to you ladies too.
There we go. All right.
Let's see you guys next.
I'm not sure if they're. Oh, you know what? We also have. You know what else is going on this Sunday? Is I'm not sure if it's all the AAU regionals, but I know the Middle Tennessee AAU PB, like the kids school regionals this Sunday.
Okay.
So we're starting to get hot and heavy in the postseason for the little guys and gals too. So
yeah, I'm so out of the loop. I need to get connected more with AAU stuff.
Yeah, me too. I'll be there on Sunday, so maybe I'll get us a little podcast guest from Sunday. We'll see what happens.
Literally a little podcast.
A little one.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Well, Kenya, we appreciate it.
Yep.
Appreciate the time. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. And we will see everyone next week.
See you next week.
All right. Bye, everyone.